So good afternoon. I'm Sheriff Mike Williams, and joining me here this afternoon is, of course, our Mayor, Lenny Curry. I'm also joined by the FBI Special Agent in Charge, Charles Spencer, and the ATF ASAC Assistant Agent in Charge, John Worcester. So we continue to keep the victims' families in our prayers today. And I'd like to thank again the media for staying engaged with us and assisting in providing again this timely information about this incident yesterday. So as you know, yesterday, just to provide a quick recap, there was a Madden 19 tournament at the Chicago Pizza in the Jacksonville Landing. At about 1:34, we began to receive 911 calls that stated we had people shot inside the Chicago Pizza. Roughly 2 minutes later, officers were on scene at Chicago Pizza inside the landing. Shortly thereafter, businesses in the landing went on lockdown as patrol officers worked to evacuate the landing, and JFRD personnel assisted with victims. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office bomb squad and SWAT teams arrived on scene and conducted a detailed sweep of the landing to make sure it was safe and secure from other threats. Once that was cleared, our investigative process began. So I want to clarify yesterday, something from yesterday, clarify our victim count now that we've had an opportunity to identify those who were transported by rescue and those who self-transported for this medical treatment. So we have a total of 13 victims, of which 12 were shot. 2 victims were found deceased at the scene. 10 victims were treated at local hospitals for gunshot wounds, and 1 additional victim was treated for a non-gunshot related injury. The suspect also shot and killed himself at the scene, as we mentioned yesterday, and he is not included in the above count because he is not a victim. He is the suspect in this case. So an official list of the victims from this incident will be released by the PIOs after the briefing today. So we're thankful to report that all of the other shooting victims are expected to recover from their injuries. And I want to credit the great work done by JFRD, paramedics, and the hospital staff for their outstanding work in, again, treating these victims. As bad as this is, it could have been much worse. So the investigation has continued around the clock since yesterday. Video surveillance footage from inside the restaurant clearly shows that this is a single shooter incident and that the suspect took his own life after shooting the victims. The suspect carried 2 handguns and extra ammunition into the establishment with him. However, at this point, we believe he only fired 1 handgun during the incident. The suspect clearly targeted other gamers who were in the back room of Chicago Pizza participating in this gaming tournament. The suspect walked past patrons who were in other parts of the business and focused his attention on the gamers. So this is a very intense and active investigation even at this point, and the motive in this case still remains under investigation. We have JSO detectives in Baltimore working with our federal partners and looking into the background again of the suspect. So we have located and searched the suspect's vehicle, as we mentioned yesterday, and now his hotel room here in Jacksonville, and we are still working through the details of the results of those searches. So we expect to complete our processing of the crime scene prior to the opening of business tomorrow, but again, we continue to ask anyone who has any information about this case or witnessed anything at the landing yesterday to give us a call at 630-0500 so we can set up an interview for you with one of the investigators assigned to this case. And again, any information at all, any cell phone video, any pictures, anything that people obtained yesterday, we're asking, again, that they share that with us. Again, 630-0500. You can email us at jsocrimetips@jacksheriff.org, or you can work through our partners at First Coast Crime Stoppers at 1-866-845-TIPS. So again, I continue to be thankful for the men and women of JSO, JFRD, and all of our local, state, and federal partners who assisted us in this very challenging day yesterday in responding to this investigation. So with that, I'm going to turn the podium over to Charles Spencer with FBI. Spencer. Sure.
Again, my condolences to the victims of this tragedy. I want to thank the sheriff and my partners, both state, local, and federal, for assisting the FBI, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office with this investigation. We continue to provide, the FBI continues to provide investigative resources to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. We're providing investigative technical resources, including intelligence analysts who are working alongside with the JSO detectives to gather and analyze information. We're tracking down where the subject was before he was here, where he stayed, who he had contact with, and helping JSO with that avenue of the investigation. In Baltimore, our agents are working with the subject's family. His parents, both mother and father, have been fully cooperative to the FBI so far. They provided access to all the records we've requested and have been very understanding the need for information to ensure the safety of others. This has been vital to advancing the overall investigative effort. This investigation is ongoing. The FBI is going to provide no other updates. All the further updates will be provided through the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. In the meantime, the FBI teams here in Jacksonville and Baltimore are going to continue to provide any available investigative resources to JSO to help them with the investigation. And as I mentioned before, all the partners in the Jacksonville area, both state, federal, and local, have a strong partnership. We train for this, we do exercises for events like this, and it's shown in the efficient response to this one. Sheriff?
Thank you, Spence. Now I'll ask Assistant Special Agent in Charge with ATF John Worcester to come up. John.
I'd like to reiterate that on behalf of ATF, our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims and the families of this incident. Thank JSO and FBI for the partnerships that we have up here in Jacksonville. On scene, we had our agents on right away, responding to help assist in the investigation any way possible. We also have agents in Baltimore that helped determine the original point of sale on the firearm, track down the firearm as quick as we could. We're engaged, assisting in all manners, and again, just applaud the partnership that we have here for a quick resolution and a speedy investigation.
Thank you, John. And again, not to beat it up too much, but the partnerships that you see here are what help us be successful in challenging cases like this. So I do want to thank ATF, FBI, our state partners, again, other local partners that helped as well. So with that, listen, this will be our last scheduled briefing on this incident, and we may release additional information, but we don't have anything scheduled as of yet. And we'll keep you posted as things continue to develop, but no other scheduled briefings as of this time. So with that, we'll be able to answer a few questions.
Sheriff, what hotel did this young man stay at? Can you tell us that, and can you tell us if he came here alone?
So I don't have that information with me. And I don't know that we will release that as of yet. So, but we obviously know that and have searched his room.
Where did he purchase his firearms, or how did he get these weapons?
So he purchased the firearms in Maryland, in Baltimore. And based on the investigation at this point, he legally purchased the firearms from a licensed dealer and didn't violate any laws in doing that.
Did the shooter go back out alone with his guns, or did he
Bridget, go ahead.
Did the shooter go back out and get his guns, or did he have them with him the entire time? Do we know that?
So at this point, we won't comment exactly on how that flowed, but obviously he had both guns with him when he committed the crime.
Did he say anything when he went in to actually begin firing?
No, not that we've heard. He didn't say anything.
Was there anything found in the car? We know when he would have purchased them.
He did buy the guns recently, and I don't have the exact timetable, but John, 2 weeks?
It's fairly recently, within the month of August.
Sir, was it a 30? Were they both 30?
No, it was not a .38 caliber. So one was a .45 caliber, and one was a 9mm.
Sheriff,
can you tell us if some kind of laser sight was used?
We won't comment on the, we have searched it, and we have items taken from the hotel room and vehicle, but we won't comment on what that was.
What do we know about security at the landings?
So we'll be looking at that in the days and weeks to come. The landing's been very cooperative, and with the investigation up to this point. So we'll be able to again dig into that a little bit.
Sheriff, was
Can you
the
tell us
firearm
if some
equipped
kind of
with
laser sight was used?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can you tell us if one of those guns had a laser sight or something like that on it?
So one of them did have like an aftermarket laser sight that attaches to the trigger guard.
Was that
Sheriff, do
legal
you
in
know if
Maryland?
he came to the city with someone else? Did he travel with someone else?
I don't know the answer to that at this point. So
Sheriff, any information on a motive? We heard that he may have been upset that he was eliminated.
So there's a lot of conversation about that. We have yet to have a concrete motive reveal itself in the case. We're going to continue, obviously, to work that. That's part of what we're looking at, but we don't have anything that we would stand up here today and tell you that this is the motive.
This question might be for the FBI. Were there any warning signs before, social media posts, anything disturbing that led up to this point in the investigation that you can tell us about?
This is still an ongoing investigation. We're exploring all leads, all social media, everything we can. so we're not going to make any comment on it at this point, but we're definitely looking into it. And as the sheriff said, if the public has any information about the subject, have any interactions with the subject prior to it, we'd love to have them pass that information to the sheriff's tip line.
Would he have been able to buy those same guns here in Florida with the current laws that we have now, the red flag laws and?
Well, again, until we get more detailed information about his background, the short answer to that is potentially yes. So,
Sheriff, do you know now how many people were in the building when the shooting happened?
so I don't have that number. We do know how many people, but I don't have the number with me.
Approximate at this point, can you say?
150, 130, somewhere in that ballpark.
Sheriff, did he know any of his victims, and were there any prior relationships there that you know of?
So there are prior relationships with, I don't know specifically about which victims, but this group travels as a kind of as a circuit, so they are familiar with each other.
Were there any notes left that you
No
guys
notes.
know?
No notes.
Any other questions?
Was there any indication that this was something that he planned prior to coming to Jacksonville?
So no indication that it was something that he planned prior to Sunday.
One more question.
The hospital said they recovered a hollow point bullet, is that correct?
I won't comment on that.
All right, thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we're going to take you out to the White House. We're just